Hey everybody, this is Jake with TrendSpider to go over the weekend analysis into Monday, May 6th. And we will be looking at SPY, the Qs, and XBI with the daily and weekly charts. So to start off with, we have the daily chart here on SPY, and we've got this very defined channel that we're currently trading in. And so whenever the price does end up breaking through the upside or the downside here, this will be a very big move to capture. So I do have an alert on both of these areas in case the price decides to move up or down. And what happens is I'll get an alert through my phone or email that the price has hit a specific area, and it may be time to start watching the chart again. So that is one way that TrendSpider can really make your life a little easier, is just by automating some of the alerts and processes of technical analysis. So on the lower indicator side of things, we can see that the VI blue did start to break down through the red, which sometimes will signal a further move down. But in this case, we had the fake out. And if you look back in the last couple times this happened, anytime we had a fake out like here back in January, there was more upside here. So that is one thing to keep in mind for the bullish side of things. And we also have the percent range starting to move up, showing momentum is back in play. On the weekly side of things, we do have some interesting things as well. We have this resistance above right around 300. So not only is this resistance at this line 300, but that's also a psychological number that a lot of people are keeping in mind too. So we do have room to move up, but we also have this indecision doji as well. So we could easily start to reverse. This is showing that there was some selling, but buyers did come back in and close it higher than what we opened at on Monday. So let's say that we want to capture the MACD starting to break down. We can easily just do that by saying, let's go to a multi-factor alert. And what we could do here is we could just do MACD breakdown. And one thing that I would look for is just the fast starting to decrease. It's been increasing now for months. And so the first thing I would want to look at is the MACD, the weekly MACD fast has decreased. And so that would tell me that momentum may be starting to fade here. Another thing I would look at is the RSI starting to break down. So I could do the weekly indicator relative strength is less than, let's say if we start to break down below this, which is around 55, that will be something to watch. So we'll do the constant value of 55. And now when these two criteria are met and they become true, I'll be alerted and know that the market may be starting to move in the other direction. The alert's created, and then I can follow that here if I want to see which conditions have become true, which ones still have to materialize before the entire alert has triggered. So that is how you can do that. If we did start to break down, I'll be alerted. But just based on what we're seeing on the daily, I would have to say, if it was up to me, I'd say we're going higher. But that's solely my opinion. I can easily be wrong. I'm not a licensed broker or financial analyst or anything like that. Just one of the founding members of TrendSpider. So please don't take my words as anything that you make a trade on. This is solely just to show how the system is working in a realistic fashion when you're doing some analysis over the weekend. So moving on to the Qs. We have a huge ascending wedge here. And so generally, people look at that as a bearish setup. We already did have a fake out here with the close below this line. However, that was a fake out because we then ripped the next day. But this is definitely something to keep in mind because, let me just move this. Because if we do continue to move up through the wedge towards the apex of the wedge and then start to break down, that would be something to note. However, I've seen a lot of these break to the upside, so we'll just have to see what happens. In the meantime, we can look at the lower indicators to see, all right, well, the percent range is really starting to take off here, and we can see by these vertical lines, anytime that has happened, we have moved much higher in the short term. So Just based on this back test, I would have to say it's looking like we're going to go higher. We do have that same fake out on the vortex indicator as well. Looked like it was going to break down, and now the red is crossing back over the blue. So based on that, I would have to say this one is looking pretty strong as well. We do have a hanging man on the weekly candle. However, we have an uptick in volume here, and we are getting close to the 70 area on the RSI. But if we look back in time when we've really gained momentum, this area has been blown through, and the weekly RSI has even gone above 80 for the Qs. So, it's one thing to keep in mind, but based on kind of what I'm seeing, it looks like this area may be just an area that we're starting to enter, not necessarily a reversal area. That wasn't the case here. This was a decent reversal area. Same thing with here. So we will have to monitor that and see if this starts to break down. I will actually create an alert for that. So we'll do the same thing. The condition is the weekly indicator RSI. Let's say less than 60. Expires in 30 days. And we'll do RSI breakdown. Create the alert. So now we'll be alerted anytime this starts to break down if this happens to not be bullish like it kind of looks like it is. So moving on to XBI, we have the last chart of this weekend's analysis, and we can see here that it's definitely something that's not as bullish as the SPY and the Qs as far as reaching all-time highs. We're still very far from these highs that we saw back in April of 2019. And so, will this really continue to move up after the double bottom and after this positive type divergence? We'll just have to see. But that is a pretty textbook megaphone resistance and support. And if we did continue to move up, we would possibly expect to test this area above in the mid 90s. It really depends on what price level, because as time moves on, this line changes and the price levels also change. So I would say anywhere from about 94 to 95 would be resistance above if the price really started to take off here. We can see on the weekly side of things that we are in a pretty strong inverse head and shoulders here, and the issue with this on the bearish side of things is the MACD is really starting to show signs of a breakdown here. Similar to what we were already looking for on the SPY and the Qs. So it's interesting to see this move has already started to be made on the more speculative ETF, which is biotech, and on the Qs and SPY, this has not happened yet. So will this just be a bear trap and just a bull kiss here where we just kind of kiss the slow and then continue to move up, or will this be a bigger breakdown? One thing that I would look for is maybe the fast breaking down below the zero line. So I'll do the same thing here and create an alert on the weekly as well. So we've got the weekly MACD fast is less than the constant value of 0. So we will capture that breakdown below the zero line through this alert. Same thing, 30 days have passed. MACD breakdown, and alert is now created. So we are all set up for next week if things do start to break down instead of moving to the upside. That's the beauty of these alerts. Everyone can be wrong. There's always a second side to the equation and the story. So you can always have the system look for the opposing move that you're really thinking that could happen, so you're not caught saying, oh man, I didn't see that occurring. The system is watching these breakdowns for you, and then when they do occur, okay, maybe it's time to get out, maybe it's time to short, maybe it's time to buy. Whatever the case may be, it's really just there to help your life be a little easier on the trading and technical analysis side by automating some of the grunt work of technical analysis and trading. Thank you so much for listening in on this video into May 6th. If you have any questions about the platform, please feel free to reach out on our social media or at hello@trendspider.com, and we would be happy to assist you with whatever questions you have. If you are interested in giving this a shot, we have a 7-day free trial, and you can sign up on our website, TrendSpider.com, and check out the different pricing as well. If you have any questions about the pricing, same thing, you can reach out at hello@TrendSpider, and we're happy to assist. Thank you so much for listening in on this weekend's analysis, and have a great weekend.